All right. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. I wanted to tell a story today because there's a lot of issues right now that are going on right now in the market in regards to dragging of feet when it comes to deciding. And I wanted to address one of these issues because I'm constantly having it come across my desk in regards to how to deal with these situations that are coming up. So this is the story of gimme, gimme, gimme. This actually happened internally at one of the companies that I worked at. So we had this senior level role for a couple of months that was open. We sent around 25 candidates, and a few were solid. Actually, the hiring manager even acknowledged it. But instead of making a decision, they kept asking, "What else is out there? Can we see more?" And middle management, they just bowed down. They just said, "Give them whatever they want." No challenge, no structure, just give me, because someone felt like it. And so eventually we had to say, "Look, we've tapped the market. These are your options. We either move forward or we risk losing everything that we've built." And it was a couple months that we had been working on this role. And sure enough, by the time that they ended up circling back to the viable candidates that they thought were solid, they were gone. Those candidates had rejected us. They've moved on. They actually ended up getting other offers and were already working at other companies, right? That hiring manager specifically was now back at square one, and all that time and money and work and everything that we had opened just gone, completely wasted. And so this is a common problem that I'm having coming across my desk, especially when it comes to HR management teams. And they're coming to me basically saying, "Look, like, Jess, how do I get in front of this right now? We know the process is dragging. We know the hiring manager has someone viable, but execs just keep letting it happen." HR stepping in and saying, "Hey, like, we need to put a stop to this, or we need to start making a decision." But then it comes to executives that are stepping in and just saying, "Give the hiring manager whatever they want." Now, to clarify, I think part of the reason why this was happening was the hiring manager actually did not have formal management training. They were not being coached. They were actually a very strong individual contributor that was made a manager, but was not given any tools or materials or resources to be coached, right? And so this is a very familiar situation that a lot of companies go through, is that they'll take a very strong individual contributor, but they'll put them into management, but get them absolutely no management training. And so that individual contributor now thinks that they can, like, run amok with a process because they're not being taught how to work with a recruitment team, right? Because whatever's happening with middle management or the executives are just like, give them what they want, maintain a good relationship, just give it to them. And here's the truth: there needs to be more training on how hiring managers work with recruitment. Give me is not a hiring strategy. So when you avoid the hard conversations, whether you're an executive, whether you are a middle manager, you are risking undoing absolutely everything that you claimed that you're working towards, right? Especially when there's already a viable candidate. We've admitted that there's a viable candidate in front of you. Like, what is the problem? And if that feedback doesn't come back where it's proper feedback and it's just, I want, I want, I want, well, it's nice to want things, but it doesn't mean that it's going to actually yield the results that you're looking for, right? And so, especially when you're hiring on-site roles, in a tight market and you've been going at it for over a month, like, then it just starts, you have some viable candidates in front of you to sit there and say, "Give me, give me, give me." If you're not willing to make a decision, the market's gonna make one for you, right? And so this mindset, it's absolutely killing momentum. It's risking your whole entire process, and it sends a message that not only your recruitment team, but your hiring manager's decisions, they're not trusted, right? And so we need to start having those hard conversations with hiring managers about what it is that we're really after, what success actually looks like in this hire, and about when it's time to start searching, sorry, to stop searching and actually start deciding. So dragging your feet, it's not going to make the market wait for you. It'll just actually make it walk away. And so this company had to deal with that when they started going back to the candidates they interviewed 3 months earlier. And they were made to look extremely foolish because the candidates gave feedback that the process was an absolute disaster. And they were wondering, like, why are you coming back to me now? As a recruitment team, there's only so much that we can do when you're working internally to cover for the company. But the company had to learn a very hard lesson um, because this was going on. So, um, wanted to chat about this a little bit further. How are people coaching their hiring managers through indecision? This is a serious problem that's going on right now in the market because it keeps coming across my desk. People keep asking me, "How do I deal with this? How do I deal with this?" And so, then I go over the things like Goldilocks syndrome and all you can eat buffet mentality. But if we don't understand the psychology of why we're asking, give me, give me, give me, especially when we have viable candidates sitting in front of us right now and we're not making a decision because we just feel like we need to, get more and more and more, we need to sit down and have an actual conversation about why that is. Are we looking for perfection in the market? Is it, you know, is it just because, that the recruitment team has historically given you everything that you wanted? Like, we need to start asking the questions too is what happens when recruitment comes back to us and says we've tapped out the market? Are we okay with potentially losing the candidates that we already have, that we know are good candidates? And is our decision going, or is our response going to be, well, it is what it is? Because then it goes to show, then it starts sending the message that you don't really care, right? It's like, okay, we're just doing this as an exercise of futility. And like, I wouldn't want to see a hiring team go through that with executives that are not willing to sit there and have hard conversations. Like, we really need to ask, like, is this serious or not? So if this is a problem that you are currently facing, we should definitely chat.